In this video, I'm going to answer the question, why does February only have 28 days? So then, why does February only have 28 days? February is the shortest month of the year with 28 days in common years and 29 days in leap years. It's also one of the most recognizable months. The reason why February only has 28 days lies in its origins as an ancient Roman month. It was named after a festival of cleansing and fertility called Februar. It's the shortest month of the year. February has a lot to offer, despite being the shortest month of the year. From weird holidays to astronomical oddities, this month is full of surprises. It also has a ton of fun facts, so it's a great time for learning. When people are young, they often ask their moms, why does February only have 28 days? This is because many children are still unsure of how long each day should last. This can be frustrating for moms, who want to make sure their kids have plenty of time to enjoy their special holidays and activities. The reason behind why February only has 28 days is actually quite simple. It stems from the ancient Roman calendar system. In the year 46 BCE, Julius Caesar replaced the intercalaris with a new system called the Julian calendar. This changed the way the month of February was arranged. Originally, the ancient Romans had the months of January, February, and March have 29 or 31 days. This was because the Romans considered even numbers to be unlucky. They wanted the total of the year to be an even number, so they made each month have either 29 or 31 days. However, the problem was that it wasn't working out very well. It wasn't organized and it broke down over time. So Caesar hired the best philosophers and mathematicians to create a new calendar that would be more accurate. Once he had the new system, he made it so that every fourth year, February was added an extra day to keep the calendar in line with the lunar cycle. This is how we have leap years today. This change is what made February the shortest month of the year. Then, when Julius Caesar died, his son Caesar Augustus continued to use the old calendar and it continued to have February with 28 days. After that, many different countries and regions adopted this calendar, and it eventually became the calendar we use today. The Gregorian calendar is based on 12 lunar cycles with 355 days, and the months are numbered from January through February. The Gregorian calendar also adds an extra day to February every few years so that the calendar is always aligned with the seasons. It's the month of love. February is the month of romance, flowers, and sometimes being incredibly cold. However, it's also the shortest month of the year. The name February comes from the Latin word februum, which means purification. In the Northern Hemisphere, February is the third month of winter, and in the Southern Hemisphere it's the equivalent of August. As you probably know, Valentine's Day is celebrated on February 14th. It's a day when partners and couples exchange gifts and cards to show their love for each other. It's a fun holiday and it helps to promote the idea of love in the world. The reason why February only has 28 days is a little bit complicated. It started with a combination of superstition and a little math. In ancient Rome, even numbers were considered unlucky, so Romans wanted all of their months to be 29 or 31 days long. But because they needed 355 days to reach that total, they couldn't have all of the months have an odd number of days. In order to make sure that all the months had an equal number of days, Julius Caesar remade the Roman calendar in 46 BCE. He decided to add two new months that were both 28 days long. While he was doing so, he also added a leap day every 4 years to keep the calendar in sync with the seasons. It was this leap day that caused the month to have 29 days in leap years, and it's the reason why February only has 28 days in ordinary years. It's no wonder that kids ask their moms this question each year, especially when they are learning how to spell the month of February. We've all heard that it's one of the most misspelled words in the English language. It's one of the strangest things about a calendar. Not all months have 30 days, and February is no exception. Even on leap years, it only has 28 days. Most people are familiar with the basic facts of a month, like how many days it has and when it starts and ends. But there are still some quirks that you may not know about. One of the most bizarre is that February only has 28 days unless it's a leap year. But what's the reason? The answer lies in ancient superstition and what was necessary for accurate timekeeping. In 700 BC, the second king of Rome, Numa Pompilius, made an adjustment to align his calendar with the lunar cycle. In doing so, he decided to add 2 new months at the end of his calendar: January and February. Both were originally 28 days long, but it isn't known why January acquired an extra day. Rather, it's thought that the change was intended to make February the last month of the year so it could host certain rituals honoring the dead. In Roman tradition, they believed that even numbers were unlucky, and so it was important that at least one of the months had an odd number of days. Since Numa Pompilius was trying to get 355 days in his yearly calendar, February had to be even. When he first added February to the yearly calendar, it was placed at the end of the calendar, which is where it stuck for nearly 200 years. But in 45 BCE, Julius Caesar hired someone to make a new calendar that would be more accurate. To do this, they decided to add 10 days to the year and an extra day to February, which is why it has 29 days in leap years. The extra day in February helped to ensure that the calendar was synchronized with the sun's orbit around the Earth. Despite its short length, February is still a lovely month. It's also the month of spring, which means it can help to bring warmer weather to the northern hemisphere. It's the month of love, and it's also the month of celebration. February is the second month of the year, coming between January and March. It is usually 28 days long in common years and 29 days in leap years. The name of this month is based on the Latin word februum, which means purification. It is associated with the ancient Roman rituals of purification that took place during this time of year. It is also known as Caeli Monath, the cabbage month. Also by the name Solmonat, the mud month, and Helmiquo, the month of pearl. Before the final calendar was created, it was difficult to determine the exact length of each month because of the irregular rotation of the Earth. Plus the fact that the calendar did not have a set day for the first of each month. Numa Pompilius, the king of Rome, decided to add 2 extra months so that he could account for the different lunar cycles and keep the year on track. He also added 1 more day to each month, so that the overall number of days was 365, which is slightly longer than a lunar year. When the final calendar was created by Caesar in 45 BC, it had a fixed set day for each month and a 29th day added every 4 years to keep things on track. However, February was still sometimes shortened to 23 days before it was finally made an even 28-day month. Another reason why February only has 28 days is because it was the first month to end in an even number. This was done to prove that even numbers were not unlucky. It's also the month of Black History Month, which began on February 1st of 1865 and is celebrated until now by black leaders who are dedicated to recognizing African Americans throughout the world. Other events that are held in February include Valentine's Day, American Heart Month, Canned Food Month, and Hot Breakfast Month. The birthstone for February is amethyst, which is a purple gemstone that is believed to have healing and protective powers. It is also said to be a good stone for couples, as it's believed to bring harmony in relationships. The flowers of this month are the violet and primrose, which signify loyalty and faithfulness to your loved ones. I hope you enjoyed this video answering the question, why does February only have 28 days? If you enjoyed this video, Please like and subscribe to this channel.